Honey, I gotta get my music back for this. I gotta get my music back for this. What is up, y'all? Y'all coming in, come in, honey. FYI, it is not looking good for Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. Baby, when I say Capricorn came in and put that nail in that coffin today, baby, she put the nail in the coffin today. She said, "Watch this. I'm gonna tell everything, honey. I'm waiting on my boy Armand to go live, but I'm gonna go live with y'all for right now. It's not gonna be long. This is day 10 of the trial, and it is getting messy. Okay, this is they done proved it for Rico with Mr. Combs. Basically, Capricorn said that he threatened to unalive her if he find out that she still has some dealings and work with Suge Knight at the time. And he said he was going to throw her in the river, allegedly. Then she said that she feared for her life. She said that she had to get Cassie a burner phone to talk to Diddy because if it came out that he didn't know she was talking to Kid Cudi, that all their lives was in danger. She was gonna do something to everybody. He was gonna do something to everybody, meaning everybody was gonna go. Everybody was gonna come up missing. She also said that one day she said, "Well, how did he get to Kid Cudi house?" And she said that she got there after she got the address because it wasn't my bad, y'all. It wasn't it wasn't like a willingly thing. She basically said she was kidnapped to do it and had a pew pew. He told her if Kid Cudi called the police and the police find out, he said everybody going missing. I say, what? Baby, they said everybody was going missing. I say, what you say? Honey, we finna get into it. Let me go down here. Oh, I get verified later, Twitter. Shuck it up. So Capricorn card was there. Let's get into it. They did a little mediation. Um, is this with Cassie? Now they asked them about, about Cassie at the time. They proposed communication between Ms. Clark and Cassie. Okay, they say they don't any see none hence their purpose. They basically, came and said what they expected. The defense submission the weekend, the defense argued the album cover was relevant. Then they say Miss Ventura was topless with her arms crossed, and he said that Capricorn Clark could come back in. Let's go down, honey. So as she come back in, I want to see if I could get it. They brought in a jury, and then they asked her some questions. I want to find the one with prosecutors first. Prosecutors first. Child, honey, y'all, I'ma say this. It's not looking good for Diddy, y'all. Diddy might be out of there, out of there, out of there after this. Baby. Okay, I want to go where it all starts. Let's go to where it all starts. I want us to get to that. Okay. And I want to show you. We're gonna go over key points because I'm trying to see when on mine go last. I can go watch him because I'm trying to figure out. He said Diddy went out cold. I don't know if he's saying that it's a cold situation he in and it's bad or what. Okay. Damn, they got Capricorn whole thing up here. Hold on, let me stroll up. Okay, so they go ahead and ask about the DA questions. Um, that it was eliminated. They talked about everything they needed to and what they were going to use to give to the jury for his trial today, what they wanted to give to the jury, okay? And then, they decided to have some conversation. He said, I'm going to overrule objection, but I'll hear you at the sidebar after the direct, which they're talking about the DNA that they have, right? So then they went ahead, right, after they had this little long conversation, whatever. They talked about Kid Cudi testimony. They basically want to see what they can use for that point to sway the jurors for each side. So they want to see if they want to sway for the jurors to say, hey, we have what we needed. He is wrong. And then they want to see what they can use to sway the jurors into saying he is innocent, right? Or he just this and that. So they called Capricorn Clark. They asked her where did she grow up. She says she grew up in San Francisco. She moved to LA and she worked for Def Jam, then Death Row Records at a late 90s gangster rap label. So they asked her what was her relation to Suge Knight. He is the father of her friend's child. She says she worked from Combs from 2004 to 2012. He had on a blue sweater, so she described he had on a blue sweater. Y'all know he ain't getting his hair colored. He is in jail. The hair is not colored. It's gray. It ain't nothing going on. Like the baby, he sitting up there. He part on the thing. He'll get to do a prison is use dye. Okay, what they use for liner, if that. Okay, and then they asked her was she kidnapped. She said yeah, and she said. Asked her when did she meet Mr. Combs? She said in New York in 2022. It was platonic. They were friends. They had her. She worked for him as a personal assistant until 2006. And she said she shadowed him, right? And then they asked her. She said she was head of Sean John. So remember he had Sean John, the clothing line, and she was the head of that department for the women apparel. Okay, so that's why all the stuff was cute. So if you want to know who made sure Sean John was cute for the ladies, thank Capricorn Clark. Thank God, because it was some cute stuff. Now, Sean John was it. They say how long? She said a year. And global brand director for Sean Combs' name and likeness due diligence to grow the brand. I was terminated until 2016 for Cassie. Okay. And then she said they asked did she work in the building. She said she did, and she moved there in 2005. She said she worked for him. He took her to Central Park along with Uncle Polly. He looked at like a linebacker. And then they posted a fitted photo. She said no, he doesn't have the black dot shades he wore all the time. And she asked about the situation in the park. She said I worked for Suge Knight. If anything happened, he might have to kill me. Objection overruled. How did you take seriously and had gravitas? How did you react? I said I didn't have anything to do with the stuff. Objection. Sustained. Ms. Steiner, what's Polly's role? So basically, around that time, he's basically saying that she was Suge Knight assistant around that time. The beef happened between Biggie and Pac. So he was like, if anything happened, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be her. Because if y'all remember, Suge and Diddy beef was so big. And that's how, because, okay, so Tupac did work for Diddy, remember? And then he went and worked for Suge. Suge had got him over there. After something happened about Tupac getting jumped, he blamed it. Y'all saw the movie on Diddy and Biggie, right? Okay. So Suge got him over there because remember it was Dre, Snoop Dogg. I think Ice Cube wasn't on the label. He was doing his own thing, and everybody was on the label. You had Bone. I mean, it was the '90s was lit. Everybody was on labels. It was a big rivalry between West Coast versus East Coast, and around that time, Capricorn Clark was working for them. Okay. All right. So she said he asked her about D-Rock, Roger Bonds, and Ruben. And she said all aspects of Combs' movement, she said to keep him safe, which was D-Rock, Roger Bonds, and Ruben. And then the prosecutor said, who's D-Rock? She said, a good friend of Biggie Smalls, running back type body. And then they asked if she observed Combs with a pew-pew in his home, and she said, yeah. She talked about basically how Mr. Combs told Chris Lightly he had a problem with 50 Cent. So now we get into why 50 Cent and Diddy beef is brewing. Everybody want to know, what did Diddy do to 50 Cent? He been had a problem with 50. Now, do we know what that problem is? No, because 50 ain't telling him. 50 trying to play gangster with it. But he say he had a problem, which is weird. But anyway, um, and then they said they asked her what she was accused of. She said she was accused of stealing jewelry that was given to her and it was a loan, but they said it was missing. And she said, yeah. She said from Teterboro, I called 1440 and told them to lock it down. What did Uncle Parley do? He questioned me for 3 hours. You went home? She said yes, to Queens where she lived. With Uncle Parley, he searched her house. And Polly then took her to Broadway. It was depleted, it was being fixed up, but I didn't know that. Uncle Polly took me to the sixth floor. The door was locked behind us. There was a 6 foot folding table and a heavy set man. So Capricorn basically said that she sat there and she would continue to get a lie detector test. She said it was five of them, two linebackers, and they were chain smoking. Um, and then she said he came back. There was a lie detector test. So basically, they made her take a lie detector test, and they told her that if she failed, they would throw her in the East River. And they said objection sidebar. Okay, so as they're talking, they didn't ask her. They go ahead and proceed, and they asked what was her demeanor. She said it was very serious, that she was terrified. Did you want to be taking the test? She said, I was afraid. How was the test? Wires on you, and they questioned you. Did I steal? Did he tell you the results? She said that he told her to calm down, that he couldn't get a good reading, and he might have to throw me in the East River. And they asked her, was anyone else in the building? She said, was it to her knowledge? And she said, no. Paul told her no, she couldn't leave. What did Paul say in the end? He come back to the next day to figure it out. He started to get another lie detector test, and it happened all day. She couldn't leave. She said that this would go on with this lie detector test for 5 days on a sixth floor, locked in for 5 days, taking a lie detector test to make sure that she didn't steal anything. And if she failed, they were going to throw her in the river. Okay. Did you tell anyone where you were? She said she was trying to survive. She didn't tell no one. They had her sign an NDA. They said objection and then sustained jury should disregard the last answer. So, like I said, they're going to use what they have to and have the jury take notes to see if they feel like he is, you know, guilty or not. Okay. And then we go on to say, what have you been doing? She said she was shadowing Mr. Combs. So they asked her what happened after the 5 days, and she had to return to work and that Mr. Combs would see her the next week. He never discussed it with her. And if I left, they think I stole. So basically telling her, because they were like, well, why did you leave? Why did you continue to work for Diddy? Well, she basically said, I worked for Diddy because if I didn't, they'll feel like I stole from them, and then they'll find me. Remember, they know where she lived. They know everything about her. They basically was keeping their promise what they were gonna do to her. She said they asked her what those days was like. She said from his townhouse at the 74th Street in Park in the morning to Diddy's house studio at night. She said on a good day, she got 4 hours of sleep. On a bad day, too, I got a stress condition and I was paid $55K. They asked if she worked overtime. She said, no, I spoke to the head of HR. She said I was owed $80,000. And when he got word of it, he ripped up the paper. They say that he would stay at hotels, and she said that he would stay with Kim Porter once a week. What names would he book rooms under? She said Frank Black and Frank White, and the girlfriends would be Jackie Starr. So Cassie wasn't just going by Jackie Starr. Kim Porter was going by Jackie Starr as well. So for Cassie to say that, oh, I wanted to be number one, baby, you wanted Kim. Kim didn't want that spot anymore. We don't heard her talk about the interviews and trying to have time of her life. Baby, she was going through the same thing you went through. Where did he stay? Intercontinental Buckhead in Atlanta, Beverly Hills in LA. And they asked her what was her bag. She said a camera, small bottles of baby oil and lube, and cameras every time. and she would be watching TV, ordering room service, keeping up on sleep. After that, she'll sweep the room for anything left behind. Any damage, it would be the baby oil. So the baby oil would leave stains on the bed, in the room, because of all the activity. So he would have to pay extra for the rooms to be clean. So he would have somebody come clean, and then he'll have it cleaned enough to have the hotel people clean it. Okay. All right, now this is where it goes left. This is where we get into Lauren London, y'all. How frequently did Combs stay in a hotel with Cassie Ventura in 2008? Once a week. At High Mirage, the landed in Continental for 7 days with the IV drops. Now, remember, he went live with his mama and was doing them IV drops, y'all. Did he speak to you about his relationship with Ventura? She said yes. Miss London was there. Chef Jordan in the other room. He called Cassie over, asked her to walk there, hand me that, go back in the other room. She did. What did he say? You bitches won't do that. That's why you don't have a man. So I guess he was talking to Capricorn Clark in London. Lauren, um, what did you say? You're a mother effing right. Did you observe Combs obtain drugs? She said a girlfriend in New York and in LA for one stop Molly ecstasy delivered to Puff or to me. Did he actually get drugs from him? She said yes, it was ecstasy. Ecstasy in the south of France. He asked me to get cocaine. I said, for who? They asked her why. She said she wasn't going to do it because that was how her mom passed. So she started this career after she lost both of her parents, and she got into this career without a degree. Both of her parents, she lost both of her parents, and she made a life for herself for working as an assistant. um, and they said sidebar. And then they came back. They gave her some time, to cope because, speaking of that, it's going to hurt. So they asked her who were the drugs first. She said, not me. And did you get them? She said, yes, through the Spanish security guard. He also gets prescription drugs in my name. They were in toiletry bags I carried or security. Now, remember when the old, one of the other, not the new one, this is the other one. The other guy that was his assistant said he used to do the same for him. He would put prescription drugs in his name. He would get things for him in his name and all that type of stuff. What was the bulk cash? They say it'd be 100,000 euros coming back from Europe. Where did he get it? Club booking in Europe. Excuse me. He'll keep it and give it to security to enter his bedroom or personal safe. Violent? She said it was fine. It was Mr. Combs violent with you? She said yes. At Star Island, he told me you're not to leave his house. Pharrell Williams was brought in by a boat. I returned Mr. Walker to Palm Island. He called and said, where the F are you? You can't have a life. One time I asked the chef if there was turkey bacon. She said, no effing turkey bacon. I said, I hate it here. The chef told Mr. Combs and he pushed me again and again. What did he say? He said, if you hate it here, get the fuck out of here. Child. Ooh. Hostile work environment. Did you leave your appointment? She said, I did. Did you return? She returned as a global brand director. They asked her why, and he said that he was impressed by the job that she did, and she left for a couple of albums. He said that he would work for her, and they asked her what she was doing for Cassie. She said that she was managing the image and maximizing optics for her. For Sean Combs, she had approval on everything. That's the way she lived in LA. She said a gated community. We had followed Kim Porter there. Now, Kim did live in a gated community in LA. Okay. Where was Miss Ventura? They said in New York or West End. She would come to LA and stay with him or with me or in a hotel. Who else was seeing her? She said Cuddy. She said she learned that because she brought him to her apartment. She texted and said they were going to a public place in LA. I told her it was a bad idea and to delete the text. She said because Mr. Combs paid for both of their phones. So she went ahead, went to Best Buy. She got Cassie a burner phone. Okay. And she said that he returned longer. He took Cassie to a hotel On December 22nd, 2011, between 5:36 a.m., that was begging on her door. And when she looked through the peephole, it was P. Diddy, and he was furious. Um, he was pacing with something in his hand when she opened the door. Guess what? She said he was wearing a button-down shirt, torn pants. He was holding a gun. A pew. He came into my apartment and said, "Why didn't you tell me who was Scott?" I said, "I don't know any Scott." What? And then they say that he was going to unalive him. She asked him what was the gun. They said it was in his hands. She didn't want to go. He said, "I don't give a F what you want. Get dressed." So he made her get dressed. And she wished that he never came to her house. And she went ahead and got dressed, right? So she saw Ruben, who was in a black Escalade, executive class. Ruben was driving the car. She was in the back seat. And she had her right hand on her right hand side was Mr. Combs, and the left next to me. Usually he would have sat in the front, and it was in his lap, right? So then they pull up, and guess where they was at? Kid Cudi house. Kid Cudi house. She said if you push it 15 to 20 minutes, that it was basically 15 to 20 minutes the way that he was driving. She said that they went into his home. She said she called Cassie on the burner, and she told Cassie, "Where the F?" I told her Puff was at Cudi's house. And she changed her number in her phone to best friend Stormy. And then that Scott was Cassie. So Scott was Cassie on the phone the whole time. She had Scott as Cassie, so he wouldn't find out what Cassie was doing, right? Well, honey, he done found out. So then after that, they sat there, whatever. He asked her, she asked, "What did you hear on the phone?" He came back, he took my phone and called the last number. Then I saw Cudi driving up. Mr. Combs on my face. There's that ninja right there. We drove off. We saw the police driving the other way toward Cudi. Puff was pulling himself together. We stopped at the Key Club and told him to call Cassie. That he had me and wouldn't let me go. That's what he told tell her to tell Cassie. She said, they asked her, she said, "Okay, come get me." She was calm. And then it said, "Who drove you home?" She said, "Ruben." "What did Mr. Combs tell you?" To convince Cudi not to say that it had been him at the house when he went to go pick up Cassie. Because he said if it was told that it was him, everybody was going to come up missing. So she went to try to convince Cudi to not file a police report because he came to her house with a pew. And he said that if you tell on him, he'll hurt us as well. So he was going to hurt not just Cassie. He wasn't going to hurt not just Capricorn, but he was going to hurt Kid Cudi as well. And that's exactly what he said. Everybody going to be coming up missing, okay? So then when that happened, they asked her about Kid Cudi's reaction. She said it was mind-blowing. They said objection. They disregarded that. And they asked what happened at the house. He was kicking Cassie again and again. Say Cassie was in a fetal position, and he kicked her all the way to the street. She was crying. He kicked her back in her backside, and she was 5 feet away. So was Ruben. And then they asked her what did Combs say to her. He said, "If you jump in, I'm going to F you up too." And they asked what did Ruben do. She said nothing. She didn't call nobody. She said she called D-Rock. She told him, "I tell your brother to stop Puff. He is kicking the inch out of her." She said she called Polly to take care of it, but nobody did nothing. She was telling Ruben to call like Polly called. Nobody would call nobody. It wasn't no phone call, meaning he was basically kicking this girl's tail. Wasn't nobody gonna stop it. Wasn't nobody finna jump in. Wasn't nobody gonna do nothing. Right? She said, "I can't call the police, but you can." So she called Cassie's mother. And she said that she told her he was kicking the ass out of her daughter. She said she can't call the police, but she can. And she basically said the mission of the day was to get Cudi, so no calling the police. So there was an email and they asked her about it. She said Cassie wrote her that he would be releasing tapes about me, and we have someone else hurt me and Scott, who was Kid Cudi. Do you recall if you responded to this? She said, I don't. Did law enforcement call you? She said the arson investigators, Cudi had given them my name. I hung up on them and I just wanted this over. He said I should kill you bees and I should cut her face. He said he should kill them, unalive them, and slice Cassie's face. Meaning I should slice her face, mess up that pretty little face for talking to somebody. Like, how dare you talk to somebody on me? And I know Diddy was just sitting there like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm toast. And I think he knew it too. They asked how many times that he threatened her, and she said 50 times, and D-Rock was there just doubling down whatever Puff was saying in the moment. Who is Harv Pierre, the president of Bad Boys Records? And she told him that Puff had kidnapped her. Pierre said, he said, that's crazy, but it's going to be okay. I got a termination notice. I was accused or not properly putting in for the vacation I was on. So basically, he fired Harv Pierre, and at the time that all this was going on, he fired him. He fired him because he didn't tell him that he was going on vacation. He didn't tell him that he needed a life. He felt like Harv Pierre's life should be his. That is your life revolve around me. I'm important. It's me, me, me. Ain't that a selfish motherfucker? So yeah, he fired Harv Pierre, y'all. That, you know, some things had to be put in, that she was going to lose her benefits, her health, her 401k, her house, her car. So basically the money that he was paying her, he paid for her house. So obviously anybody that worked for Diddy, he paid for their house, their car, their phone bill, and any way that these folks would eat and rest. So basically whatever he was paying them was never enough to sustain on their own. That is a hostile work environment. That is a hostile work environment. You telling me at all this money you make, you got $100,000 to show your tail because you ain't rapping no more, no shade. Up at these clubs, everybody know your name. You get to stand there, smile, joke, drink, whatever, and show off somebody. And you paid them little to nothing? Oh, child. I see why, I see why some of them artists left. I used to be like, dang, why Faith left? Why Mary left? I understand. I understand. I remember Mary did an interview where she said that it was going to mess up their friendship. And she had to part her ways from that record company. Y'all remember that? And she released, I think, her second or third album with another record company. Child, this is too much. My cup is empty. What? Whew. I wouldn't dare. So she was asked, did she get a job? Then she said that he told her he'll never work again and he would make her unalive herself. What kind of hell? Child. Hell no. They asked her, did she get a job offer? She said it didn't fall through. She couldn't get a job. In October for 2020, they said, did she settle? And she said, yeah, in October 2012. Okay. So then they go for sidebar. So, she's sitting here, she's crying, she's blowing her face, thinking of all the things that, she went through with Diddy as working for him. And I've heard a lot of people say that working for him is not I remember a lot of people was talking about that. It was already word about 6 years ago. Child. So then they came back, right? And they asked her about the settlement and did she have any pending litigations? She said no. She said she went back to work for Diddy because no one would hire her. And Cassie had a new record deal with Epic. Okay, so she had a new record deal with Epic. I don't think that record deal fell through because I believe that he probably would have found out and it probably didn't go through because Cassie would have released an album by now, y'all. That's sad. She got approvals from Sean, who was taking Cat and from Sean, and Cassie was taking more rugs. They were still dating at the time. I'm sorry, y'all. In December 2023, she was traumatized by the Cassie civil complaints. Okay, she retained an attorney because she was traumatized by it. Her complaint didn't reference her, and she reached out with him. She said she want my life back. She said you kidnapped me. And then his lawyer said objection. They said overruled. And they asked her, was there a discussion? And she said yes, as a chief of staff. So he was going to make her the chief of staff to his business, to his record label. And it was weird because, and I remind y'all when I told y'all, the girl, she didn't have a degree in this. So obviously she got on. I don't know how she fits her resume. I need to call Capricorn Clark. Baby, if you fix your resume that good, I need you to fix mine. Remember, she was an orphan. She didn't have her parents by the time she graduated high school. She had to do what she had to do. Okay? She did well for herself. But working for 2Ds wasn't that great. But I want her to fix my resume. You know what she should do? She should do people resumes and pay them a nice money so they can get them a good paying job. I'm just saying, because baby, for you to work, oh honey, she would do a great job. Okay, we're gonna go back in. They asked her when the last time she spoke to Cassie was in 2018. The last time she spoke to Kid Cudi was 2012, and they said there was no further questions. They went ahead and took a break. Honey, they came back. And this is where his defense team came in and put a lashing. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't have a dog in this fight like everybody else, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is a big case. Before we get into it, this is a big case because you have both sides. And the way I'm looking at it, with very great arguments, very great points. This is one of the most high-profile cases since O.J. Simpson and Michael Jackson. This is one of them. It's in top tier with them. The information that's coming out, the way that the defense team and the prosecutors are just going at it to get this information to deliver to the juries, and they have great arguments, it can go either way. Young Thug had a great one too. We saw how that lasted, but this is top tier. I have to say that. I've never seen so many people be out there in New York right now. Okay. They asked her, was she still under oath? And then she went and said, we met in April 2024. She had a lawyer, Brian Freeman. They said, and they asked her, did she have a lawyer? She said, yeah. And she went back and she worked with Combs. She said, we discussed it. Yes. You saw Mr. Jericho's take notes. She said, yes. You said you didn't think Cassie was good for Mr. Combs. Why? I just thought they were toxic. Well, we all saying the same thing, defense team. We all say, Lord Jesus. They asked where was she when she were in New York. She said she was in the Bronx and she hated it. A lot of people don't like the Bronx, but that's another conversation for another day. She said it was 2022. She met Janetta, then Mr. Combs in 2001, the trade center thing, and that's when she seen Mr. Combs. He did ecstasy in Daddy House around that time, and then it got worse. And then she authorized Mr. Freeman to seek a job for her, and she said that it was very procedural, lawyer to lawyer. And he said, but you were told you couldn't be given a job at an investigation. She said, I don't remember. So they gave her something to read and let me know. They said, you remember seeing saying you had the biggest crush on him? And they said objection. And he said state of mind is being offered for truth. We had to steep on this, right? So they basically had to say, listen, you got to tone it down. Like you going in on it instead of getting what you need. So they said that she called him Chalk for chocolate, and she said she did. They say she worked with Def Jam, Run DMC. She said I didn't go back that far, but she worked around the time with Foxy Brown, Redline, and JC. So that's how she worked for Mr. Combs. She said she put her resume on Monster after the World Trade Center, and he said, "You work for me," and I was like, maybe he was acting on. He was acting on on the Broadway play Raisin in the Sun, and she was very impressed. Now, remember, he did Raisin in the Sun a long time ago, and he also did the movie. Okay, and he had a major part. She felt like he was a star, and he was overshadowed. She said she shadowed him for the Vote or Die campaign. And that was a campaign, remember, where they were trying to get, Bush out the seat. So they were trying to get people to vote because this was the year 2001 when Bush was in office and everybody was trying to get them and his brother out that chair. Mm-hmm. So everybody, I remember they did T-shirts, they did photo shoots, and this is true because I, grew up around that time. There was photo shoots. Remember, there were T-shirts. If you was around that time, there was TV show. They did a whole thing, and Diddy was always in one of them, which was freaking weird. But, child, whatever. And so, she'll call him and say Puff wanted them come, and they would come. And they asked her how long was the jury missing. She said it was about 4 months. On the 4th of July, he threw a white party at his home in the Hamptons that year with Vote or Die. Now, this is a sidebar. That's when everybody was saying, oh, all the celebrities were there. That was a Vote or Die party July 4th. Okay? And that is true. And that's when the jury started missing, right? So then she said it was after July 4th, and they said that the jewels were still on a loan from Jacob the jeweler. And they said, yeah, and they asked her who did the lie detector. Who else got lie detector? She said Matt B, his stylist. He too had gone to the street level of 1440 for manicures. The lie detector test was next day. You never told HR. She said she didn't tell HR. She got fired 3 weeks after that. She said she went to work on his 35th birthday at Keeper Cipriani to do celebrity lists, and she came back. And that was from 2004, 2006. And she said that as a personal assistant, Dan Lejean. She said she was making $65,000 for Combs and then $90 at Jive, right? And she said she came back. She had gotten top records for R. Kelly and Mr. Combs, and he was impressed and asked me to come back for Sean John for Women. So he paid her $65,000 to be his assistant. She thought that she was a good employee for him, and he told her she was off. She said he did not use that word. She worked hard for him. She said she did. Others work hard. She said not as hard as her, which they didn't put in the work as much as she did. She learned a lot from him. He broke that glass ceiling for us Black people in the business world. And she started crying. Do you need a minute? She said, no, it's just complicated. And they gave her a break. Now, I know they're going to use that because she's saying that he did break the business for Black people. He did. But then at what cost, though? You know what I'm saying? He was one of those people that broke it for them because, y'all remember, it wasn't many people doing what he was doing. It wasn't. That's a compliment in its own. But at what price to pay? So they talked about the jury witness. They did the DNA questions or whatever. That's when they go into the hearsay situation. And they talked about that. They gave her a break. And then that's when they come back and they have a question. They asked the jury to come back in. They asked her when she went to the park. It was a tavern on Green. They parked there early in the day and they ran into Nas. Okay. When you say he's had Miss Ventura spin, who was there? Let me show you what you said. You said Lorianne Gibson was there. They misheard me. When did you first meet Cassie? I met her with Ryan Leslie. So she met her with Ryan Leslie in 2008. Or 2000, around that time where everybody said, I think it was like 2005, 2006, somewhere like that. And they basically sat there and asked did she get along with Cassie sometime. She said that in 2008 she got bravado being his girlfriend the longer it lasted. She thought I was being paid to help her. So basically, Cassie thought she was being paid to help her and not help Diddy at all. So she felt like, she said she went from being a sweet model to being a feisty girlfriend. She had talent and she was very beautiful, you know, um, but not talented. She wasn't talented. She had some talent, but wasn't that talented. Baby, this lady said talent to her is Whitney and Mariah Carey. Cassie, she was more of a studio musician. She needed things equalized. She said Cassie wasn't no Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, honey. But we could work with her. Damn, that's fucked up. Let me tell you something. Cassie is a great dancer, and I feel like Cassie was overshadowed by this because Cassie was starting to grow. I saw the 106 and Park performance. It was horrible. I don't know if because she was going through things then, but the more that she started to grow, the more she got better. I can say that. I can say that. Okay. Um, they asked if she performed live. She said a couple of times, but it wasn't that great. But she was a hard worker at times. She preferred to be with Diddy when he moved to LA after Kim and had the twins around 2009. He saw her developing more of her they saw her develop. Capricorn saw her development more of her relationship with Puff, right? And how he supported her, with stylists, other musicians, and components to make her a star. And she got help from Young Jock. When Young Jock was in the group with from Atlanta, where he was in that rap group at the time in French, Montana. So they kind of helped develop her a little bit. And I wanna know. I gotta look up when Young Jock left because Young Jock left and he said something and he left and started and went to another record label. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. That man ain't never bothered Young Jock after that. That man ain't never bothered Young Jock after that. He won't even have a conversation with Jock. Not Young Jock. I'm sorry. Is it Young Jock? No, not Young Jock. What's the other one that Jeannie Mai was married to? Oh my God, Young Jeezy. Oh my God, how I forget Young Jeezy? But Cassie did have a song with Young Jock, right? But if y'all notice, everybody he tried, he didn't try Young Jeezy like that. I said before and I say it again. He never tried Young Jeezy like that. And Young Jeezy was in a group, remember? Under his label, and Young Jeezy left. He never tried Young Jeezy like he tried everybody else. But yeah, she worked with French Montana and Young Jock. I keep getting them two mixed up because they're so Atlanta. Anyway, back to it. Say he ran to Cassie, say she had a new deal with Epic and she dressed her like David Bowie. They did a photo shoot at her house. They wrote a mini movie and shot it for the project. And they asked her about Official Girl, and she said it was a super cute video, which is one of my favorite songs by Cassie. Me and You, I like it. It's commercial, but Official Girl was my ish. Okay. And then they said it was a super cute video, which it was. And they asked her about King of Hearts, and they said it was fresh. Cassie had a green wig, and they moved to admit there's a ceiling issue, and they talked about the email, and she said she didn't remember the email. And it said in 2012 she was setting up a recording session for Cassie, which was Mario Winans was the chairman. And they said from Mr. Combs, she said, yeah, when did you learn Cassie dating Kid Cudi? She said fall of 2011, I picked her up there from Kid Cudi house, right? And they said that it had to be after Thanksgiving, the Kid and Cudi were going to know each other, getting to know each other. And she got her burner phone from Best Buy. And she told her she cannot do this on her bad boy phone. So, hey, Alexis. So, bad. She had her phone that Diddy gave her with the company of Bad Boy, right? Say Cassie was texting Kid Cudi from that phone. If Diddy would have found, that's the phone that Diddy pays attention to. So when Diddy get the bill and knowing the type of person he is, he's gonna look at them bills, at them numbers, and figure out who is Scott. So it wasn't under Kid Cudi, it was under his name, Scott. So that's when Capricorn decided to say, hey, baby, we can't do this. He's not finna get me and you because I know. Baby, I'm finna go get your burner phone, talk to your whatever this is. I can't now. This ain't happening, not on my watch. Basically, she been through enough with the man. So she grew up in LA. She said that in December 2011, they went to an orphanage in Russia. Okay. That Sean went to Russia around that time. And he asked, how did they get into the building? He said, I was told the security guard got fired. What's his name? Some random security guard. What did he look like? Black guy, younger than 35. So he said, what was Combs doing with the pew? He had it in his hand. Was he pointing it at you? She said, no, he didn't point it at her. She said he just waved it around, telling her to put her clothes on. And she went in her closet. And she said, is it true you went so that Mr. Combs wouldn't do something stupid? She said, no. I went because he said he didn't care. I didn't want to go. So basically, it wasn't to do nothing stupid. He didn't give a darn if she didn't want to go or not. You gonna put your clothes on and we finna go to his house right now. So basically, he wasn't gonna look for, get whatever from Cassie. They asked was he a jealous guy? She said he had a bad temper. And to the escalator, did you pass security guard? She said she saw him in his little hut and said that they asked her, was Mr. Combs behind the driver with what's pew on his lap? You made a call. She said, not then. Did you look at Cudi's door to see if they could get through? I was not really paying attention. I was so in my head trying to plan my next step. I was praying that Cudi was not there. Did Cassie have 2 rooms? Said, yeah, she basically had 2 rooms. Cudi took her to 1 room. She had another. And they say, you're 100% that you called and told them Puff had a gun. She said, yeah, I said it very quickly. I didn't want Puff to see me on the phone. Did you say that Lauren London was on the phone with you and Cassie and Cudi? She said, no. Only part of the time, voice cracking. I wanted someone to know where I was. What did you tell her? I'm scared of mountain lions. And they asked her, they were like, mountain lions? She said, I don't know if you know, Hollywood Hills coyotes. Maybe Lauren was on the phone. Maybe it's such a long time ago. Are you aware that Lauren and Mr. Combs were friends for years after this? And she said, yeah. Then they asked her, did she see the Porsche coming up the hill? She said she saw the black Porsche come up. She said he stopped next to her. Then he sped off in that Porsche, and that's when they started to chase him. They said he lost them and turned away, and then they saw the police pass them. So she went to go pick up Cassie and say they went to Kid Cudi house. There was ATD there. Then you go to Mr. Combs' house, and she said that when she saw Mr. Combs, he was kicking Cassie there and even in the street. She hung up on that fire inspector and they asked her, you were on vacation. It was with who? She said she was on vacation with Rihanna at the time. After you were fired, what job did you get? She said she was hired by Chris to work for 50 Cent. So this is where it looks like 50 Cent and Diddy beef come in, because remember Chris was working for Diddy. I guess he got fired and went on to 50 Cent. Child, this is messy as hell. She wrote Mr. Combs saying that one day she'll forgive her anyway, but will. She said, yes. You wrote on February 28, 2015, your grace period to be mad at me has surprised the agreement, laugh out loud. You wrote that. She did write that to him. Please read out loud. She wrote, she was never my friend. She wanted me gone. I realized. Did you think Cassie was gone? And she cried and said, sorry, this is complicated for me. I felt that I was Puff's protector. Oh, honey, I felt like I was the only one gone. She was still there, and things were getting worse. I tried to keep professionalism as the goal. You thought you could be his protector. It was to move the ball toward the goal to expire. Did it hurt that he would only take you back because Cassie wanted? She said, yeah, I have no parents. My son is autistic. My stakes are high, sir. How much more can I talk to the government? Sidebar. So she asked, the offense asked to talk to the government. I don't know what for. I don't know why. But they came back and they gave her a few more minutes and they were going to get her out today. And he said that he told her she did a lot of great work with Cassie from 2016 and 2017. And she said she believed. He asked her, did Cassie have addiction problems? And it was said to say yes. Chris Lightly. That's who hooked her up with the job to work with 50 Cent. Mm-hmm. She hooked him up. He hooked her up to work with Diddy at one point. Then that's when, yeah. Um, they asked her did she make a short movie with her. It was called Love a Loser. That was the name of the movie. You wrote him asking for forgiveness. I wanted my life back, my dream, my commit. Her dream. We're gonna leave it there. I can't get the words out today. I'm sorry. When you met with me, you wanted to work with him, right? This is what his defense team said. She said we discussed it. Nothing further. Judge, Miss Steiner, how much was Mr. Combs required to pay you? Sidebar. So they asked her what happened with the job with Chris Lighty. She said he passed the day before I was supposed to start. Then at Interscope, it wasn't about a job. They told me to leave Puff alone. So Interscope told her, hey, um, Interscope say you want to work with us, you got to leave him alone. That's what you got to do. You can't work with us dealing with him. Out. So, child. Then they said that she say she was blacklisted, and she say, why did she return to work from the com? So people could see I wasn't disposable at the level of business he held at Power. And they asked, why did you meet them to get her life back? In the kidnapping, she asked, did Mr. Combs have a pew? She said, yeah, I knew. And so the judge said, juries, I know we kept you longer than I said. Thank you. See you tomorrow. All right. So everybody left. Now, I'm not sure. It looks like they're going to basically have a discussion. I believe Capricorn Clark is going to come in tomorrow. And Capricorn Clark is going to finish. They're leaving the courthouse at 3 now on. It was till 5, but it's 9 to 3. So Capricorn Clark basically put the nail in the coffin and said, hey, he kidnapped me. He forced me to go to Kid Cudi house. He forced me. Right. That's what it sounds like to me too, Terry. That's what it sounds like to me too. And let me tell you something. If y'all pay attention, this ain't no shade to 50. 50, it's very weird for 50 to talk. It's like, I said this before and I say it again. 50 Cent is not innocent, y'all. I don't know why I feel like I'm like, no, he ain't innocent. He ain't innocent. He's not innocent. Do he know some stuff? It's very funny how you know everything. He not innocent. I'm telling you, it's like a stack of all trays of dominoes. I put nothing past him either. I don't know why. I don't put it nothing past. But Cassie had a record deal with Epic. And it's funny how I want to look and see what happened to that record deal. Because why didn't her record deal with Epic fall through? And I'm starting to think why it didn't. And I don't think they wanted to have nothing to do with Diddy. So when I look it up, I'm gonna share it with y'all because this was she was talking about Love a Loser. Let me show y'all. And Love a Loser didn't get the recognition it should have got because I don't remember the song. Um, this was in 2017. G Easy had just came out. She signed a joint record deal with Bad Boy and Epic Records, right? G Easy had just came out, and it was called Love a Loser, and it was supposed to be her first single. But in 2019, she revealed she was launching her own independent label and releasing singles, and it dubbed releases Free Fridays. And that was it. It was followed by Don't Play It Safe. But I don't think her song got the recognition it did to go where it should have gone because I don't think it hit the charts like they wanted it to. The same way he promoted Me and You, Official Girl, he promoted that song she did with Nicki. It didn't go. Oh, Long Way to Go. Them songs had videos, they had visuals that was great. Choreography was on point. Everything was set. But because he didn't have Lori Ann Gibson anymore, it seems like to me it tanked the crap. Lori Ann Gibson, I ain't finna lie to y'all, to me was the glue that held Bad Boy together, whether anybody like it or not. Because when I tell you she came up with them choreography for the visuals. Hold on, let me see if I can find them. And I always wanted to know what happened to her because I remember on Making the Band, I forgot what episode it was. I know it's with Danny Kane in day 26. He fired Lori Ann Gibson because Lori Ann Gibson stood up for herself. Let me see. He fired her. She went to work for Lady Gaga for a very long time after that. And he tried to blackmail her. Mm-hmm. She went to work from Lady Gaga. Remember? Let me see. Yeah, he fired her. She went to do dances for Honey 3, and then she picked up for Lady Gaga for a very long time. And she's been Lady Gaga being her choreographer at the time. Then she went on, what is that show when the lady that was in the wheelchair and got locked up for scamming with the girls that were dancing that JoJo Siwa was on? Oh my God. Hold on. What was that show? And she had a contract for that because she asked her to be there. And this was recent. Born to Dance. She did Born to Dance when what's that darn lady name? Is it no, not Born to Dance. Take that back. Dance Moms. She did Dance Moms when the lady, the screaming lady, went to jail. Child, what is that lady name? What is the screaming lady name? When Abby Lee went to jail from 2011 through 2019, she did Dance Moms, and then that was the last we saw her after that, after COVID. I'm not sure if she's still doing it. I'm not sure she's doing what she's doing, but She did do Dad's mom. Now, word on the curb is Lorianne Gibson supposed to take the stand. I don't know when she taking a stand, but I'm gonna say this with this case, with this trial. We are in week 3, honey. We only got 4 days of week 3. Out of week 3, we have now gotten his RICO charges and what they have already specified. So let's get into what they already have, you know, what they already done proved on his charges. And I believe Diddy is sitting here, you know, looking like, dang it, it's over for me. Um, he has, I think they proved racketeering and conspiracy as of today. Um, I would say they supposed to prove 2 counts of ex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution, but because they don't have all their witnesses allegedly seem like, because remember Gina, and I'm gonna keep saying it, Gina ain't coming. Gina gonna be his ride or die. She's not coming, baby. She not. So I believe is he probably will be charged with 1 count of racketeering, and he probably will be charged of 1 count of prostitution and transportation. And the reason why I say that is because you don't have all your people. Like I said, everybody like this isn't Diddy versus Cassie. It's not. But the reason why they're using Cassie right now is because all the other witnesses that's supposed to be there are not there. I don't know where they at. We don't know. I believe they got paid off. They got paid off not to be there. We just gonna call it what it is. Um, but now the prosecutors are starting to show why they have these charges the more they get into it. Now, we got Capricorn. Now, we don't know if Mimi is going to get charged and she got to go to the stand to not get charged, which is his last assistant during the time all of this was going on. But Capricorn has stated what they're trying to get him for. Now, I believe she proved the arson. The arson is already proven out there. The makeup artist has approved that they would be in hotels to cover the bruises. I feel like one of the charges, to me, I said he'll probably get charged for one, but I do feel like they're going to try to do, they would probably want to throw in a domestic violence charge. But then again, I'm not sure if they can or not because, excuse me, she was already paid for her time and suffering. So I'm not sure if they will, but I guarantee you this. He's going to get charged for one of them counts. Now, my sister was saying it probably be a mistrial. I don't know. A lot of people saying it looked like it could be because the way that the prosecutors feel, it looks like to me like this. The prosecutors got something. But baby, when they defense team, talking crazy, not excuse me. Defense team pop up and they rebuttal everything. It's like, hold up. Well, wait, I thought you said what? Then defense team say, okay, let's get at it. Remind you, one of the defense team lawyers is Brian Steele, who got Young Thug off. They tried to arrest Brian Steele in Georgia for the information they had on Young Thug and how they were trying to do everything. New York knew, and the prosecutors knew to play their cards right. Because the way Brian rolled, Brian finna go through every nook and cranny. He did it with Young Thug. That's how Young Thug got off. Yeah, he's cleared scot free. So we don't know how this gonna go. But Brian, Mr. Brian Steele, he getting that team together. He working with. He's getting that team together. He's working with. I feel like he got canned. Now I was hearing that he looked like he was cold, done passed out cold in the courtroom. I don't know. I don't I hope that's not true. Um that was last year, I guess. But I think um I think Diddy has now looked. I guess what they mean by that is Diddy is looking like I'm finna be gone for a while. I might be in the kitchen helping and doing something because I'm not gonna see the light of day for a minute. Hmm. So, and it's crazy how they're bringing up Kim. Now I heard LB Sure said he did want to take the stand. I'm not sure. This is alleged. I'm not sure who all gonna be there, but it was supposed to be three female witnesses that said that yes, this is what happened to them, and only one showed up. Capricorn Clark. No, take that back. Two showed up, and Capricorn Clark is the one with the kidnapping. Take that back. I'm sorry, y'all. The one that's supposed to be there is not there. So I'm not sure who all gonna show up. I'm gonna tell y'all this because I gotta get me some more after reading this crap. I need a drink of blood. Like what? This is baby. This is better than telenovela and soap opera and Beyond the Gates at this point because I'm like, what? And say this. I'm gonna be covering it. I go back to work next week, so we're gonna jump back on that. I'm gonna try to do it that day of, cause it's a lot of bombshells dropping. When I tell you, we have 5 more weeks to go. Wait, we got what 6 to 8 weeks, so we have 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sorry to go. Buckle up your seatbelts. Buckle them up. Get your popcorn and wine, because when I tell you, it's gonna be a lot to come out. It's gonna be a lot to come out. Please, please be ready. Just like we were surprised week one, we're about to be surprised a lot more. I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to continue with Miss Capricorn Clark, honey. Oh, Lord. Oh, baby. I just want to send my prayers to her. We're going to continue with Capricorn Clark tomorrow. Hit that like button. But listen, this got me tongue tied. Hold on. I'm sounding like tied tongue, like somebody else. We can't sound like that. Hit that like button. Don't forget to share, subscribe, comment y'all thoughts. I wish I was out there to get the tea for y'all. I'm not, but I'm going to get it right here. Y'all be safe out there. Have a great summertime. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Later.